want to do that. Oh, hi guys, it's Jonathan from Smart Home Sounds. So today, as you will find out, it's going to be a bit of a different video for you today. We're going to be reviewing the Sonos Arc 5.1.2 surround system in full, so you can see whether it's going to be right for you. This will be a much more involved video than normal, but we want to be as in-depth as possible, especially when you might be spending over £1,800. So we'll be covering how easy it is to set up and live with, how to choose the right TV, its strengths and weaknesses, and answering the question, is it worth its price tag of over £1,800 and much more. Now there are timestamps and chapters below, so you can skip forward to the sections that you're most interested in. So the Sonos Arc wireless surround system with Dolby Atmos includes the Sonos Arc soundbar itself, the Sub Gen 3 subwoofer and 2 surround speakers being the 1SLs to create a 5.1.2 surround system. Now you may be familiar with a 5.1 setup, but the 0.2 on the end relates to the overhead channels, which is utilised when watching Dolby Atmos content. Now it's a Wi-Fi based system, so you don't need to buy everything at once, so you can start with the Arc soundbar, then add the sub or add the surrounds, or buy just the full system at once, according to your preferences and budget. Now if you're not already aware, the way the Sonos system works is that all of the speakers just require mains power, and they're set up and controlled day to day using the Sonos app on your smartphone or tablet. Then the only connection to your TV is from the Arc soundbar via HDMI Arc or eArc, which we will get into in more detail a bit later. Now there's no remotes with the system, as it will let you pair your existing TV remote with the soundbar for volume control, and there's also no speaker cabling to worry about. So we get a lot of customers say they want to do away with trailing wires, or they've just got tired of their hi-fi system taking up a lot of space in their room, for example. So being able to control everything remotely and wirelessly, as well as use the system for music streaming, radio, audiobooks, podcasts, etc., makes it not only aesthetically pleasing, but it opens you up to lots of new features that let you take advantage of what is possible these days. Now what makes Sonos different from many other systems on the market is that the Sonos app allows you to build a wider multi-room system over time. So all of the Sonos speakers in your home can be centrally controlled from one place. So you can have the same music playing everywhere, or each room playing something completely different. You can even use the optional Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant voice assistants to control each speaker. But they also integrate with many other smart home products too, so the sound system can be integrated with smart lighting, thermostats, security products, and many more in your home. So in essence, it's important to first understand that the Sonos system can be used for more than just a passive home cinema system. So let's dive deeper into the system itself. So the system is available in a choice of 2 colours, gloss black and gloss white, and you can mix and match the colours for each component to match the decor in your room. Now the Arc is sold for an RRP of $799, the Sub at $699, and the 1SLs at $179 each, to make a total of $1,856. Now we've done reviews of each individual component, so we're going to try and avoid going into too much detail on each component and instead cover the full system in general. But of course, if you'd like to find out more about each product, I'll pop links to each review below. So let's cover how to know if your room is going to be suitable for this system, room setup, and also some other requirements of the system to make sure that you can get the most out of it. It must be said that the Arc itself is quite a wide soundbar at 45 inches wide, as it packs 11 speakers in, so a good starting point would be to have at least a 49-inch TV, because if you have anything smaller, the Arc is actually going to be longer than the TV, which might look a bit strange. Now you also need to make sure the Arc is going to fit within the legs of your TV, and also on the TV stand itself. Or if not, there are wall mounts available from Sonos themselves at £69, or from Flexon for £59, and the Arc actually uses magnets, so it knows when it's wall mounted and it adjusts the EQ settings to suit. Now you can also get a handy TV mount attachment for the Arc for £89, so if your TV is wall mounted already, you can use the attachment to get the Arc and the TV on the same mechanism. I'd never recommend positioning the Arc above your TV because it uses upward firing drivers, and these would probably be too close to the ceiling to get the full effect. I'd also suggest that you want to put these components in a room that is larger than 16 square meters on average, as the system is very powerful and anything less than this would just be too overpowering. Now for smaller rooms, you'd be better off going for their cheaper soundbar, the Sonos Beam at $399. Again, I'll link our review of that in the description box below. You've also got the Sonos Sub Gen 3 subwoofer, which is quite a heavy and large part of the system, and this is going to be responsible for the lower frequencies of your audio, helping to give you those cinematic effects and really make you feel like you're there. It's non-directional, so you just need to find space for it anywhere in your room where there's a socket, as the position in the room won't affect your listening experience. And finally, you've got the surrounds, which are responsible for outputting the surround channels of the audio. So for example, if a helicopter flew over from behind, the rear speakers would be activated and it would feel like it's actually coming from behind you. Again, this really helps with immersion of your content and gives you a more detailed setup. Now there's a few ways that you can add the surrounds to the setup, so I'll just cover them now quickly. The first is by using the standard 1SL wireless speakers, which just plug into mains power. And the ideal position is about a foot away from each corner of the seating position. For the best experience, I would recommend designing your room so that the sofa is facing the TV rather than side onto the TV, so that the surrounds can be more true to life from your seating position. Now, if you can't find surface space for the 1SLs in your room, there are plenty of stands and brackets available, such as floor stands, wall mounts, shelves, and more. And we did record a video that goes over the choice of 1SL accessories in detail, which I'll put a link to in the description. Now, I wouldn't recommend Sonos Ones as rears unless you already have them, as the only difference between the 1 Gen 2 and the 1SL is voice control, which is covered by the voice assistant in the ARC. So you're better off saving yourself a bit of money and going for the cheaper 1SLs. Another option for rears is built-in speakers, such as in-wall speakers or in-ceiling speakers that will be powered by the Sonos amp using speaker cable, if you want to go for a built-in aesthetic, that is. Now, Sonos have their own in-wall or in-ceiling speakers, but you can use your own too from other brands. They don't necessarily need to be Sonos, but do be aware you won't be able to tune the system using Sonos's TruePlay technology, which involves acoustically optimizing the speakers for the room they're in if you decide to go for speakers that are not Sonos. I'll come back to this a bit later. So whether you choose to go down the built-in speaker route is largely determined by your aesthetic preferences and room layout. They don't necessarily do a better job as surround speakers than the 1SLs, but they do have the discrete aesthetic and space-saving advantage, so it might be worth considering. So let's briefly cover how to rig this system up to your TV then. Now, the only connection you need to make from this system to the TV is from the Sonos ARC to the TV's HDMI ARC, eARC, or optical connection. Now, 99% of TVs will have at least one of those connections, but in order to listen to Dolby Atmos content, the latest form of audio processing, you'll need at least an eARC or HDMI ARC connection on your TV. And I do go more in depth about this on the Sonos ARC review, but in a nutshell, if you're in the market for a new TV, always look for one which has an eARC, which is listed in their connectivity spec. If it has one of these, you're going to get the most out of the Sonos ARC and listen to the highest quality audio currently available. If you're happy with your TV already and don't want to purchase a new one, and it only has a standard HDMI ARC connection, you may still be able to get Atmos content, but you will need to double check on your particular TV spec, as some are able to do this while others can't. If you have other HDMI devices like SkyQ, Fire Stick, a games console, etc., that are also connected to your TV, you'll need to make sure that the Sonos ARC is connected to the HDMI ARC or eARC, and then whichever source you're on at the time, whether that's SkyQ, Fire Stick, etc., the audio will automatically come through via the ARC. So it's not as complicated as you might think if you have a lot of devices connected to the TV already. So once you've got your Sonos ARC set up, it's really easy to add the sub and the surrounds to the ARC. So for the purposes of this video, we've got the Sonos 1 Gen 2s, which have the voice control built in, but as I've mentioned earlier, you're probably best off just using the 1SLs. So I'll show you how to set it up now and sort of some good hints and tips that you can do. So to do this, just go into your settings and then add product. Obviously, you want to make sure that you've connected your products to power. It searches for your product automatically. We've got the sub and the rear speakers ready to add. They should be flashing green, so it shouldn't take long for Sonos to find it. So it's actually found 3 new products near us. So we'll set up the Sonos ones, and then you just need to press the button on the Sonos one, and it should make a nice little chime. Okay, so it's found it. We're just going to move on. And then this is how you can determine what you want to use your Sonos ones for. So in this one, we're going to use them as surround speakers for home theatre. And then specify which room that you want to use it on, the Sonos ARC, continue. Add the surround speaker as the left or the right. So in this case, it's the left. And then it's added it as the left. and now I need to add the right surround. So the setup for the other surround and the subwoofer is exactly the same as what I've just showed you, so I'll skip through that part in this video. Once you've done that, it will register your products, and then you can set up TruePlay and voice assistants if you want to. Another cool feature of the system is TruePlay tuning, and that means that you can acoustically optimize the speakers to your seating position and the layout of your particular room. Now, your room's architecture is one of the most significant influences of sound quality, so to be able to regulate this effect is a great advantage to have. Now, you do need to have an Apple device to take advantage of this benefit because the microphones are universal in Apple products. So if you're an Android user, I would suggest borrowing a friend or family member's Apple product if they have one, as you only need to do this once, and then it takes only a couple of minutes, and then all of the settings are saved in the cloud. So now I'll show you TruePlay tuning, which is where you walk around the room and you can make some acoustic optimizations and adjustments for the room that you're in. So I'm in the Sonos Arc room settings at the moment. I've scrolled down to sound, and then you just press TruePlay and then TruePlay tuning. So we'll continue, and then just make sure any cases or coverings are off. Our microphone's exposed, so that's fine. We can begin tuning. And then you just need to regulate the sound and make sure it's as quiet as possible. And there's actually 2 stages to the TruePlay tuning in whenever you have a Sonos soundbar. So you'll see this now. So it's asking me to sit where we normally watch. So we've got a sofa right in front of the Arc at the moment. And this is where we'll do it for the purposes of this setup. Rotate the iPhone. Continue. So while facing your TV, hold your iPhone at eye level. So raising your iPhone microphone helps TruePlay accurately balance sound in the next step. So we'll do this now. So this is my eye level. Keep your iPhone raised. When you press play, you'll hear a loud series of test tones for a few seconds. So here we go. Okay, so now the next stage is where you'll actually need to walk with your iPhone to tune the overall sound of the room. So I'll show you this now. So I'll say I'm ready to tune. And then I have to get up and I'll move in this room and I'll wave and walk quietly with the iPhone in my hand. So here we go. And it's adapting the speaker sound. And there we go, that's been successful. And that's how you look like an idiot for a minute. I'll just show you a couple of little hints that I found from using the Sonos app when you have a sub and rear speakers added to your Sonos Arc. So if you go into System Settings and then select Sonos Arc, if you scroll down to Surround Audio, here is where you can actually specify whether you want more volume from when you're watching TV or listening to music from your surround speakers. So that might be different dependent on your taste. One important setting to note is this music playback is ambient by default. And that means that when you're watching TV, the surround speakers will be ambient, which is what they should be, and they won't necessarily play the same volume as the Arc. Whereas if you select full, when you're listening to music, the surround speakers will then become full stereo speakers. So when you switch back to TV, it will go back to ambient by default. So I would actually recommend you actually select this as full to get the most out of it. Regarding the sub, if we just go back to the start, if we go on to sub audio, here is where you can actually turn off the sub completely temporarily if you wanted to. You can customize the amount of bass that you want to get from your sub all the way from -15 to +15. I just leave it in the middle. And then phase control is currently grayed out because we've got TruePlay tuning enabled. But if you weren't able to do TruePlay tuning, phase control is where you can actually reverse the sound waves from 0 degrees to 180 degrees if you've got any dead spots or nodes in your room, which is actually quite handy. And it means that the sub is going to sound, it can sound good for every single room there is. So a couple of other handy features when you're watching TV on the Sonos Arc. You've got night mode and speech enhancement. So night mode, what that will do is we'll dumb down all of the louder sounds, but still bring out the quieter sound. So if you're listening late at night, you can keep your neighbours happy, any kids sleeping, anything like that. It won't wake anyone up in the house, which is quite handy. And then you've also got speech enhancement, which you can, I actually like to keep it on at all times because that will bring out the vocals in whichever content that you're watching. So it's quite handy when you're watching the news or anything else that's quite vocal heavy. That will just make things sound a lot more clearer. And then another good tip is that whenever you're watching Dolby Atmos, it will show that you're getting Dolby Atmos content through the Sonos app. So that's nice to see as well. So let's move on to the positives and negatives of the Arc surround sound system. So starting off with the negatives, we do have to admit this is a high price to pay for a surround sound system, as you're looking at £1,850 for the full system, not including wall mounts, floor stands or extension cables that you might need. You can certainly put together your own hi-fi system for £1,800 and get it to sound as good, if not better, than the Sonos system, if you know which components go well together, but that is overlooking a large part of what Sonos is all about. If you don't want unsightly cables and you want a system that's seamless to use day to day, the Sonos system offers immersive surround sound from a wireless, easy-to-use system. Now, in addition, instead of just being a passive sound system for the TV only, it forms part of a larger ecosystem that lets you expand your system really easily to more rooms. As we're talking about price, we do offer an interest-free pay monthly service should you wish to spread the cost up to 12 months if that helps too. Another negative is that the Sonos system doesn't support DTS, and DTS is an audio track found on many older Blu-rays. So if you have a large collection of Blu-rays, you might find the audio will downscale to 2-channel stereo if there's no Dolby Digital track available. Whether this is going to be a problem for you entirely depends on how you watch movies. So if you mostly stream from Netflix, Amazon Prime, etc., this will definitely not be an issue. Blu-rays are now starting to feature Atmos too, so newer Blu-rays also shouldn't be that much of an issue. Another negative that I have is that there's no Bluetooth, which I know some people prefer for familiarity. However, Sonos have always believed a Wi-Fi connection is better when listening at home, and I would agree with that to some extent, as your listening isn't going to be interrupted when you get a phone call or watch a video on Facebook. Also, if you have an Apple device, you can use AirPlay too. However, Android users will either have to use the Sonos app to stream music or Spotify Connect. This brings me on to the final negative that I have, which is that admittedly there are some features that you can do with Apple devices that you can't do with Android, such as AirPlay 2 and the TruePlay tuning feature that we mentioned earlier. Now, we have offered workarounds in this video, but really we shouldn't have to. And we see this far too much in the world of tech these days, where one brand is favoured over others. The positives are that it is packed with many different features such as Atmos, AirPlay 2, Spotify Connect, 2 voice assistants, TruePlay tuning and more, so it does give you a lot of choice in terms of control. The next positive that I would rarely use as a positive because it is subjective, and that is its sound quality. Now, we have tested the system in full and we were blown away by it, and I think it's on track to win some awards in the future. But it's better not just to take my word for it and have a look at some of the reviews of what others are saying and reviews left by existing customers. The other positive is that Sonos systems in general hold their value extremely well due to their popularity, so you don't need to worry too much about them losing their value quickly. So you've nearly reached the end of this review, but let's quickly go over some frequently asked questions that we've been asked since the product's release. We've collated a few of the most popular ones. So first and foremost, is the Sonos subwoofer really worth it? Now, it is $699, so we can't say it's worth it for everyone, but we have offered some pointers and various scenarios where you would benefit the most in our dedicated Sub-Gen 3 video review, which I'll link to below. So how do the speakers all link together? So the Arc, the Sub and the One SLs will be one zone in the app, which you will assign a room name. So all of the audio, whether that's movies or music, will come through all of these speakers at the same time. They're able to do this by communicating with each other over Wi-Fi. Now this brings me on to my next FAQ. What if my Wi-Fi can't be relied upon? So if you're watching broadcast television, this does not use your Wi-Fi and it will come out of the system even if your Wi-Fi dropped, as the Arc is connected directly to the TV via HDMI ARC. If you're streaming from Netflix, for example, or music from Spotify, this does require a consistent Wi-Fi connection. If you're concerned about your Wi-Fi coverage in the room that you're looking to install the system in, my advice would be to see how you go first, and if you experience any issues, you can always add a Sonos Boost, which should remedy any dropouts or long buffering times on the Sonos app. So final question, is it worth £1,856? So for the person who takes sound quality more seriously than TV internal speakers or a cheap soundbar, the Sonos Arc system is definitely worth considering. If you have the budget to make the initial outlay, the system does try to improve your investment by including the latest features and getting smarter over time via free software updates. Not to mention it is expensive, so it's certainly not right for everyone, but when you consider the package that you get, we think it is going to be worth it for a lot of people. So you've made it to the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching until the end. If you think this is going to be your next surround sound system, do visit us on our website smarthomesounds.co.uk, as we do offer a 6-year extended warranty, free delivery and a 30-day hassle-free returns policy. If you need a little bit more help deciding or comparing between systems, do give us a call, send us an email or contact us on our live chat, and a member of our team will be happy to help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.